So, so my running joke about the second trimester is that literally everything that you could think to possibly Google, like about your pregnancy, and this is just my experience, but about your pregnancy or whatever it is, you can Google it and it'll be like, you like pick something random and then it'll be like, in your second trimester, it's common, da 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 da. And I just couldn't believe it, like the accuracy. Like I was like, all these women get pregnant and I'm going through this checklist of symptoms and things that I'm coming across, and like clockwork, a lot of the things I would actually hit. So one of the things that I thought was like really bizarre was like having like a metallic taste in my mouth, for instance. So it was the second trimester, I think towards the beginning of the second trimester, and I just remember I couldn't get like this like kind of metal taste out of my mouth. Went to Google it, second trimester. For some reason, it's common for women to have a metallic taste in their mouth. Something that I didn't mention about the first trimester that I wish I had was one of the best things that happened was I had like a really itchy scalp my first trimester, and I also kind of bridged between the second trimester and the first trimester. I had acne, like I think just like the hormones, like my skin, it made my skin go like crazy. And I was like, no, because I had heard about pregnancy acne and I was really worried about like, you know, it's vain, I know, but like I was just worried that like my skin was gonna be crazy and you know, just how that would kind of affect like my confidence and stuff like that. So my little sister made a fantastic suggestion. She was like, Chels, get African black soap. I ordered it off Amazon, and when I tell you, like, I washed my hair with it, I washed my face with it, and literally like the next day, like my scalp, like the itching had stopped, like my face like was starting to clear up, like it literally was like that to my skin and my scalp, and then it was like that, like a release. So I can't recommend that enough. I know it's too drying for some people, but for me it was a godsend. And you know, I would kind of bust it out whenever my skin started acting up. Like I said, the scalp stuff for the first trimester, it went away like after that, after I washed it with the African black soap, but the acne would kind of flare up from time to time. I would also use something called Gel. It's like a cream. I would use it like all over my face and like let it just like sit for hours. One of the things also is drying was like a huge part of my pregnancy. I hadn't thought about that, not on my body, but like actually on my face. So, you know, African black soap can be really drying, so maybe that's part of it, or maybe I was just like taking it up a notch. But tea tree oil, the African black soap is great, the Gel is great. Just be really intentional if you do notice that your skin is drying out to like moisturize like every night before I went to bed. Like I'm normally pretty good about it, but during my pregnancy I didn't miss. I would massage my baby bump with like Vaseline, like layer it on. Lotion was not doing it. I was like, I need to feel the comfort in a greasy layered way. And then I would also moisturize my face with just like a light moisturizer from Trader Joe's, and it made a huge difference. Like my skin literally would like look revived after I would do it. And it's been, you know, skin is skin. You're gonna have like blemishes from time to time, but it was a huge part, I think, of just like kind of having my skin look the way I wanted it to look and feel. Another thing that I really wish, and this is like my second trimester, I think was actually my hardest trimester of my pregnancy, which leading up to it, I would have thought that, oh, it's like everybody says like your second trimester, you just have to get to your second trimester and it's like this beautiful, amazing thing. And I'm glad that that's experience for some people. It was not my experience. Like I had a little taste of it towards the end for sure, but oh man, it was like an extension of my first trimester, but like taken up a notch. So by my second trimester, the constipation was really tricky. So one of the things that I would recommend for anybody who's considering getting pregnant, like get locked in with your dietary restrictions. Like if you know you're lactose intolerant, imagine being lactose intolerant with a huge belly. If you know that there are foods that make you gassy, like beans, broccoli, like all the stuff that I like it just, everything seemed to like trigger like either bloating or gas or something like that. So I had two options. I was like, I can either completely cut it out of my diet or I can get supplements. The thing about supplements is like you got to commit to it. Like it can't be like, oh, I took a lactate pill and this one time. It'll set me, you know, straight for future times. Like you got to do it right or don't do it at all. So one of the hardest parts of my second trimester was that I actually had like this trifecta of things go wrong. I like I said, constipation was a huge issue for me during my pregnancy. It wasn't like up until this point terrible, but it just like, I don't get constipated in regular life, so I think it just was such a bizarre thing to me to have to think so hard about my fiber intake, about how much liquids I was taking in, all these different things. And then on top of that, I had these prenatal vitamins and my just digestive tract slowing down from the pregnancy. So it was just like a mix of things I'm unfamiliar with on top of like my body changing a whole lot and realizing that like if I don't get a hang of it, like it's gonna like wreck me. So I had a really big problem with constipation and gas, and the gas pain was so crazy that I actually ended up going to the ER, because part of it, like I told you guys in the previous video, was that in my specific case with constipation and having the fibroid, if you can imagine me having really, really bad gas, just applied pressure to everything in my lower abdomen. So it was like really hard to pee, really hard to poop. And then on top of that, I had gas pain, and it was just like, guys, like I can't even describe it. It was a nightmare. So I ended up going to the ER, had them try to like check me out, figure out what was going on. Like it was just a nightmare of experience. One day I might do a video about like that whole experience. Today it's just not that day because I'm trying to keep it tight for you guys. Now the other thing that I want to piggyback on is if constipation is either something that you deal with in regular life or something that you're pregnant maybe right now and that you're dealing with, I have a couple of recommendations. First thing is, I was, by my medical team, they told me to take Colace just every day. And even like postpartum, I'm still taking it every day, because until your body gets back to normal, something as simple as like going number 2, like it can be just like a nightmare. And when you're either huge and pregnant or like just having a baby, you just don't need anything else. So take it every day. This isn't an optional thing. If you haven't had constipation, good for you. Like I'm happy for you. But if it has even been a slight problem, like listen to me, take it every day. That's that. Like I said, lactate is great for if you have dairy restrictions or like, you know, issues or whatever. Beano is great for any type of like gassy food. Take that as well. I also, prenatal vitamins, like I said, be careful with them because sometimes the iron in them will also make you constipated. And they do have prenatal vitamins that don't have iron, but the one I wanted to take did. So I just had to kind of ramp it up and figure it out. There is a cereal by Kashi called Toasted O's or Hearts and O's or something like that. I'll put it in the body of the copy. It will get you going. Jalapenos, hot jalapenos, like sliced pickled jalapenos. Eat 2 of those jokers a day. You guys, when I'm telling you, like I have lived it and I have done it, please just take my recommendation. It'll make your life so much easier. Another thing that was really helpful for constipation is there's this thing called, before it just got to where I needed like to supplement everything, Constipation Yoga. And I made this really ridiculous video trying to like demonstrate it for you guys so y'all can see how it goes, but it works, and it saved me a many night before we had to just, you know, take it up a notch. One of the coolest things about the second trimester though is that it was the first time that I was able to feel Naomi kick, and it was like the teeniest, tiniest little flutter, like on my stomach about here. It was really cool because it was early in the morning, so Warren was still home, and like we both got to feel it. So that was just so special, and just a really beautiful time. But yeah, the second trimester kicked my butt, and I was kind of like, oh my gosh, like if this is the second trimester, what can I expect for the third trimester? But luckily my third trimester was a lot easier. So that's that on the second trimester. Let's get to the third.